Good afternoon, class. So today is 31st of December, and the first one is United Kingdom have approved Oxford vaccine. Now, why this is a concern, or this is a you can say a type of a good thing for India, because this particular vaccine has been developed by the Pune-based AstraZeneca, and I think that is one of the big things that has been coming out from this. Because if it has been approved by United Kingdom, then surely soon enough this particular vaccine that is developed by the Serum Institute of India will also be getting licenses for the implementation or the administration in the Indian subcontinent also. Okay, so I hope this is clear. They are waiting for the dose. The conditions are all the same. The storage will require -70 to -80 degrees Celsius temperature. The efficacy is close to 62%, and in some cases 90% for 1.5 doses. So we are hopeful that in the second dose, the efficacy will be above or more than 95%. So that is what we are looking for. So I hope this is clear. The next news is related to the farmer center and what is the issue between the two. Now the both sides have come out for a temporary truce in a way in which the farmers were saying the repealing of the four things, the four, you can say, no negotiation terms that they have put forward. The one included the decriminalization of the stubble burning. The second included the safeguarding of the power subsidies. Then there were three farm laws. I hope these are clear. And apart from that, then there was another issue with respect to the deregulation of the market, or the, you can say, making MSP a legal right. These were the three demands. So three farm laws were the one demand. Stubble burning was the second demand, power subsidies were the third demand, and a complete legal guarantee on the MSP was a fourth demand. So on two of the issues, they have agreed. The two issues are still going to be renegotiated on the 4th of June in the next year. So the challenges still remain. Maybe there will be some give and take. Of course, the farmers are given an upper hand right now. So there will be understanding on the farmer side also that if the government is going forward and they are taking some of the demand into consideration from the farmer side, the farmer should be equally, you can say, generous in the way the government is dealing with them. So these are some of the things that they have talked about. Now there is one very important article that have come up today regarding the facial recognition technology and the law that is yet to catch up. So what is this and what are the issues behind this? So I hope you remember the facial recognition technology, the basic technology that is currently available in the mobile phone for basically logging into the mobile phones, has been used by different agencies and different airports, or even some of the, you can say, private sector or the government sector enterprises, where they are using this particular technology for surveillance, either authentication, either authorization, or either security purposes. Now, what is the problem here? The problem is that there is no specific law regarding the use of the facial recognition technology, which has actually made it a type of a, or it could become a type of a bane for the society. So how to make this bane into boon is the, I think, the whole debate or the whole article that revolves around. So basically, when you collect the data of a particular person from the facial recognition, the authors who have written this particular article says that that is a violation of the fundamental rights. And why they say that it is a violation of the fundamental rights? Because there was a judgment of K. Puttaswamy in 2000, I think 11 or 12. I do not remember the exact day of the K. Puttaswamy judgment, but it was somewhere in the 2000, after 2011 or 2012. In K. Puttaswamy judgment, or I think it was in 2018, when the Aadhaar bill was being debated, I think. So in this case, Puttaswamy case versus Union of India case, the government wanted to basically mandate Aadhaar for all the government and all the private purposes. Then the decision was delivered, if I am not wrong, in the K.S. Puttaswamy judgment, that the right to privacy cannot be an absolute right only in those cases where the government will present a case that the interference should be allowed for a larger public interest. For example, the government subsidies are being taken advantage of by the people who are the middlemen. So government gave a type of an argument in the Supreme Court of India that if they do not link the Aadhaar card with the account number, how will they know that if these persons are getting any type of subsidies from the government, and how the government will keep track on all these subsidies that they are giving from the center. So the Supreme Court accepted the proposal. Supreme Court said that in the larger interest of the people, maybe some interference is allowed with respect to the privacy purposes of the individual. Otherwise, it is not needed right now if you are not receiving any of the government subsidy to link your Aadhaar card with your bank account. So I hope this is clear. Now, what is the issue here? The issue is RTI inquiry has been sent to Delhi police because Delhi police has been using the facial recognition technology for detecting various criminals all around the country, and recently their scope has also increased, and the scope has increased basically up to the protesters of CAA and Jamia Millia Islamia students who were actually present over there. So now there is a whole lot of debate that is currently brawling. This debate that is currently going on is with respect to the misuse of the technology that the government is doing for intimidating the normal citizens of the state. So if the intimidation of the normal citizens of the states continues happening, then the right of the protest and right of the freedom will be curbed by this or will be indirectly curbed by the state. Okay? So these are provided by under Article 19. So when we talk about Article 19, the K.S. Puttaswamy judgment basically provide two type of tests. The Article 19 says that privacy is a fundamental right even in the public spaces. So if you are protesting, you are allowed to protest in open and your privacy should remain intact. If it is infringed in any case, then the government will have to come up with the affidavit in explaining that what are the circumstances that are currently making it to infringe upon the right to privacy, which is a fundamental right of some individual, and whether the interference is in the larger interest. So these are some of the things that they have debated. Now, there is one more clause that the Supreme Court have said. If there is an alternative available, you should be able to basically use that alternative. And if the alternative is not available, that may justify up to some extent that you should basically infringe upon the fundamental right of an individual. Okay. Now, along with this particular issue, when we talk about that, this question was asked to Delhi police because Delhi police has been taking help of the cameras and different type of technology for catching and nabbing the criminals now. So, RTA query was asked from Delhi police that whether you have any procedure, regulation or any law that basically mandates you to collect the data on the basis of the video recommendation, because it can also be a possibility that tomorrow there will be some people in the police department also who will be going for the surveillance policing. They will be checking persons from where they are coming to where they are going, what is their timing, and that create a type of a horrific scenario for a common man on the street. So the Delhi police gave a type of a vague answer in which they say that the facial recognition system is basically for all the investigative manner for safety and security of the people. However, if they follow any regulations or not, the explanation to that has not been given by Delhi police. Okay, so I hope this is clear, and that's why we need a type of a, you can say, particular judgment. And now the Home Ministry has also decided with the help of National Crime Record Bureau to put in a facial recognition system in place and to check whether the people will be there. There are another problems that are associated with this particular system is false negative and the false positive. So false positive are those persons in which the system refuses to recognize the person. So there will be other persons who will be not be recognized even if the actual person is sitting in the proximity of that particular area. The next one is the false negative. So the arrest of somebody else in place of somebody else is a type of a false negative. So you may pick up some other person from somewhere home, and in India where the police matters are taken up into a very you can say type of a blot on the image of the family, these issues can create a huge trouble. When we look at the international experience of the different states, the one state that come to our mind is the United States of America. In United States of America, there is no bill regulating this particular technology right now. The government have requested Amazon, Google and all other companies that they should provide them the basic inputs that they want to take away from the companies, because if you know Google Chrome, they track you whenever you go. If the GPS is on, they can track you wherever you are moving. But when this data was asked by the government of India, in certain cases and even of the larger public or to track the movement for maintaining the traffic and all other things, then the Google and all other companies have basically denied the right to them, and they have also suspended the project that basically used the facial recognition system in one way or another for the surveillance checking. Now, the one country where the surveillance checking is currently going on is China. I hope you remember they have started a point system for the citizens over there. If you are not jumping a line, then the point system is provided to you. If you are a good citizen, then the point system is also provided to you. You can read about the point system on the net yourself. I will not be going into that. The next article is related to Himalayan maneuvers. Now, what is this Himalayan maneuvers? Now, when we talk about Himalayan blunder, whether it is averted or not, the issue revolves around the Nepal instability that has been caused by Mr. KP Oli, who have advised the president of the Nepal state, Vidya Devi Bhandari, to basically dissolve the parliament. Already we have talked about the issues that concerns the Nepali constitution right now. The constitution was framed in 2015, and in the constitution of 2015 that was framed by the Nepali Constituent Assembly, it was said that under no condition except for only two that are listed in the constitution, the parliament cannot be dissolved, or the upper house of the Nepal cannot be dissolved. And what are these two conditions? If there is a hung parliament, or if there is none of the party who basically enjoys the majority. These are the two things that have been described in that. Now, there is some talks that from China, or the Communist Party of China, there have been a senior delegation who have been sent to assist Mr. KP Sharma Oli. There is a delegation who have been talking with respect to the major leaders that are in Nepal. They are talking to the opposition leader, and they are trying to consolidate the two parties, which is directly an interference in the internal affairs of Nepal. Now, this might create a type of a, you can say, backlash to the efforts of China, because earlier the people of Nepal were also protesting for too much interference by the Chinese authorities in the Nepalese domestic politics. So I think that is not going to play out well. Then the article praised the steps that India have taken. India have taken a practical and a pragmatic approach. They have not interfered directly. And maybe this is because we have a more understanding of the traditional views in which the Nepali territory see the independence of its political institutions and the economic institutions. Our engagement may not be the same type of engagement that used to be earlier, but I think it is a more pragmatic approach and a more practical approach to engage Nepal and to sit on the sidelines, which will provide more space to flex our arms and, you can say, type of more room to basically deal with the Nepalese challenge. So I hope this is clear. The next one is separating the wheat from the agri-policy chaff. I hope you remember chaff is a type of a remain that is remain after the cultivation. So what is this article is dealing about? So the article deals about the farm subsidies, why they have been increasing, if they are so bad for the economy, why they have been increasing by the why they are being increased by the successive governments. And the second issue is the spending on the farm subsidies and how the government is spending on the farm subsidies. So I will not go into the detail. I hope you remember all the laws with respect to the farm issues. The basic issue that we are going to do here is what is the cost of the or cost to the exchequer of the subsidies, and what is the successive government are doing to basically deal with this particular issue. Now, when we talk about the growth of the agriculture with respect to the GDP and the population who is engaged in the GDP, in the year 1951, when we have just implemented the constitution and the agriculture was there, I think most of the time the economists are only, you can say, type of concentrated on the ideas that what was agriculture in 1951. I think they should provide a more realistic picture of agriculture after the Green Revolution or during the year 1980s or 1984s, because that was the peak of the Green Revolution. We started becoming self-sufficient from that particular point. So that picture I have found that most economists do not present. That picture should also be presented, because then you will get the exact way or the exact understanding that from how much after the green revolution we have moved. Okay. I hope you're understanding my point. So in fiscal year 51, when we talk about or after the independence of the implementation of the constitution, the contribution of agriculture to the GDP was 45%, which has reduced to 61% in the fiscal year 21, that is the current year. And the workforce in 51 was engaged in 70% in agriculture. Right now, if we see, it is about 50%. So the GDP contribution have decreased at a faster pace as compared to the people who are engaged in the agriculture sector. Now, the problem is that is facing the farming communities is the income has not been doubled. So the income is not increasing since 2000. So there is adverse term that is currently going on. There is erosion of the farm incomes. And in that particular case, there is approximately a single digit growth year on year. And in the case of Punjab and Haryana farmers, the growth is also very small, that is close to about 1.2% or 1.3%. So one of the major reasons that the Punjab farmers are also protesting is because they think that the stagnant growth is there, and as the private sector will come in, this private sector will basically even make the growth go further lower, because MSP is assured price. So even if in the type of in a time of a recession or in a time of a such kind of things, that is a type of a pandemic in the case of COVID, if the MSP will be there, the farm incomes will remain constant. Okay. Now Bishwajit Dhar have taken a, I think, very honest opinion about this particular issue. The farm laws are necessary. Please understand, the farm laws are necessary. But the point that he has made is also true to the core. So what is the point that he have made? He say that APMCs are basically criticized that they are included of the middleman, but the middleman have to provide a assured price in the form of MSP. Now you are saying that we will remove the APMC and you will introduce the corporates. The corporates are known to be making profits. If the profits they had to make, they had to pay a low price to the farmers. If you do not ensure the price, then they will squeeze every ounce out of the farmer. So basically what you are doing, you are taking away a smaller middleman who had to pay a minimum price to the farmer, and you are putting in a bigger middleman in the form of companies. Okay, maybe we do not want to recognize the competitions that the companies will bring in, which will lead to the increase in the farmer income. But this is what he said. He says that you are removing the middleman, a smaller middleman who have to pay a guaranteed price. You are bringing in a larger middleman who does not have to pay a guaranteed price to the farmers. So that will basically displace some of the farmers who are in the agriculture sector without any alternative sector to work in. Okay, so these are some of the things that he have debated, and he have made a very good point. Okay, please understand, I am totally in the favor, in my personal opinion, I am totally in the favor of the farm bills, how the farm sector should be relieved. The persons who are working in the farm sector should be equivalent whatever the GDP they are providing. But he have highlighted a major point. Now, this major point is basically, if the competition does not increase between the farm sector companies, then the price realization of the farmers will not be very high. Okay, I hope this is clear. So let's say if the farmers, if there is a company lobby that makes adjustment according to that, that the grains that will be bought from Punjab and Haryana will not be given a minimum price, and they have even started depreciating the price of by not buying the produce from the Punjab and Haryana farmers. So if the market forces are at play, then the corporates plays different type of games. Okay, I hope you understand. If you have read newspaper thoroughly, I have told you, I think in the last year also, that there are some Chinese companies who are buying the artificial intelligence companies of India at humongous cost just to eliminate the competition. Okay, so that's how the corporates work. If you cannot excel or you cannot provide excellence, you have to eliminate the competition. This could also happen in the farm sector, and this is the point that he have made. So I hope this is clear. Then if he talks about yield, what is the yield of wheat and rice when we talk about the rank, then the yield per hectare in wheat we are ranked at 45 and the yield per hectare we are ranked at 59. So you need not to go into details. Just remember that our yields are not in the top 50. We produce a lot because we have a lot of area, but our yields are not very high. And even if we remove only two states, that is Punjab and Haryana, then the ranks will be further low. So our yields are low. The next one is whether there is a need of a law with respect to the MSP or whether there is a need of a policy. So right now we need to have a policy. The situation that we are in today has no coherence between the laws with respect to the implementation and with respect to the you can say uh, laws that are needed to be made. So he have taken an alternate argument. He have said that the policy interventions that were required or the laws that were required at a particular point of time in the Indian agriculture or in the opening of the Indian economy, they were not provided. Therefore, the government tried to cover it up with subsidies. Now, then he goes to explaining of the subsidies. He says that in the case of subsidies, even if we see the Indian government supply approximately 56 billion of subsidies, and out of that 24 billion goes to small and marginal farmers. So who are small and marginal farmers? The persons who have land area less than 2 hectare. The second issue is with respect to the European Union, that is providing 80 billion euros, and then we have 131 billion in 2017 that is provided by USA. But the main focus, he says, should not be on the issue of basically value addition. So in India, there is 12.4% value addition, whatever the subsidies we are providing. In case of USA, there is 90.4%, and in case of European Union, there is 45.3%. So these are some of the things that we are currently looking for. So he says that whenever we are providing subsidies, we are only providing subsidies for the survival rate. The subsidies per capita is also very less. I have already told you how much per capita subsidy, only $45 are being provided. Okay. Sorry, $450 are being provided as compared to the $9,000 that are provided in the United States of America. And when we talk about USA, only 2% of the population is engaged in agriculture, but they are more frequent in bringing changes with respect to the laws and with respect to the policies in their own country. However, we have scored a very low position in the respect of the policies and the changes that are needed to be introduced in a country where the 50% population is engaged. Okay, so I hope this is clear. The next one is the straws in the wind in South Block. So this is just a normal comment. Do not go into this particular issue reading about this whole article. It have talked about the China challenge and the intolerance of the criticism. So with respect to China challenge, he says that in the first tenure of the Modi government, we tried to build a strong foundation with the China on the basis of the relationship. So there was Wuhan summit, there was summit in Mamalapuram, and after that there were discussions that were currently going on. Then there was a confrontation with the China on the border. China have still not receded from our borders, and after, as they have not receded from our borders, that have basically created a problem for all the people. And these people in the domestic territory also and in the international territory also are not able to refute the claims of the domestic people also and of the international people also, because everybody is asking questions and the government is not giving answer to any of the questions. They always say that this is an ongoing process and it will take time, and how much time or in which position we are currently at, no clarification has been issued by the government. So that actually has led to the loss of a credibility in one form or another. And in a democracy, when the government loses a you can say credibility part, that is the end of the democracy. The second, he says, the intolerance of the criticism. Now, whatever the reports or whatever sanctions or whatever comments that has been made by the foreign personal, any organization or any institution regarding how the things are being conducted in India, the Indian government have fired back on them. They have even questioned the credibility, questioned the criteria, or questioned the methodology in which the data has been given. I hope you remember. Now, with respect to these issues, they have basically refused. The first major case of refusal was meeting Kamala Harris. So this Kamala Harris was a pro-democracy and pro-liberal politician, and the Indian High Commissioner or the Indian Foreign Minister, I think, if I do not remember the exact who was that person who have refused to meet Kamala Harris. Now Kamala Harris is now the Vice President, so there will be tough going for us in America also. The second one is the statements made by Mr. Trudeau from Canada. Maybe he does not hold as much influence with respect to the things that are happening in India, but he had a huge Sikh population that is situated in Canada that is reaping out the benefits. So these are some of the things that are currently debated and has been mentioned in this article. No need to go into details about this. The next article is related to government not for missions in Estonia, Paraguay, and Dominican Republic. So open up the atlas, see where Paraguay is located. You will find it in South America. Paraguay, Uruguay, yeah, and see where Estonia is and where Dominican Republic is. Okay, see the countries, see the neighbors around this particular part. Even if you want to go ahead with this, you have to see some of the you can say type of physical barriers or features with respect to the what we call geography that is being mentioned over there. Okay, because that is how you will learn and that is how you should learn. Okay, so go to South America, see how these countries are located, see where Paraguay, where Paraguay is located. Okay, the other countries are Dominican Republic. I think Dominican Republic is located in, you will find above than Panama. And when we talk about Paraguay, there is a very important country that is a neighbor of Paraguay called as Bolivia. This is very important because Bolivia has one of the greatest amount of lithium reserves that are found over there. Okay, we have already talked about this. That is one of the major information that you should remember about that. So I think that is it. The next one is Assam House clears bill on madrasas. So now madrasas will be coming under the Assam repealing bill, in which regular schools, all the madrasas and all the Sanskrit called institutions or the schools called as stole will be converted into regular schools, and these regular schools will be function on equal parity with respect to providing quality education. So please remember this also. The next one is the Assam CM set January 31 deadline to rehabilitate national park dwellers. Now what is the issue here? I hope you remember there was some time back a wild leak that was or that has happened in the state of Assam near the Dibru-Saikhowa National Park. So there were some people who were moved out from that particular location in the backdrop that maybe there could be a possibility that will actually lead to a destruction of a larger kind. But the fire itself dissolved. So these people who were moved out from that particular place were currently belonging to the missing tribe, and these people are basically asking for complete rehabilitation on a time-bound manner, and they were located around Dibru-Saikhowa National Park. ठीक है, तो इस बात को ध्यान रखिएगा. Two things you have to remember from here. Dibru-Saikhowa is located in Assam, and there is a rehabilitation of approximately 10,000 people who will be there. So I hope this is clear. Further moving on, the next one is the cabinet gives approval for Akash missile export. First of all, what is the Akash missile? Now Akash missile is a surface to air missile, and the high level committee, that is basically the cabinet committee or the union cabinet committee on security, the union cabinet committee has basically decided that Akash should be now made available to the international players or to the international countries for buying if they are interested. Now there are two issues with it: whether we are exchanging the technologies with it or whether there will be a different version. So the government have made it clear that whatever version of the missile that will be sold to the foreign countries will have a different version as compared to the version that is currently used in India. So we are keeping the strategic core understanding of this particular missile to ourselves, but then again we will selling some of the part that is needed to be shared with the person or needed to be sold to the foreign interested candidates. Okay, इस बात को ध्यान रखिएगा. The next one is with respect to the CCA not for three infra projects. So proposal approximately of 8,000 crore have been given green signal by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. And what are these three proposals? The three projects include the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, so DPIA, and there is a Krishnapatnam industrial area in Andhra Pradesh that will be constructed. Then there is Tumakaru industrial in Karnataka, and then we have a multi-modal transport hub at Great Noida in Uttar Pradesh. So they all three will be combining, and 7,725 crore will be supplied. And I think that is also needed with respect to the infrastructure project because they will help in growing of the jobs. So the exact details you need not to go into detail. Just remember the details and all other things are needed. sorry, not the details, but the infrastructure is needed so that more investment could be done in that particular part. The next news is related to British lawmakers approve post-Brexit trade deal with EU. So this is European Union. I hope you remember all the issues with respect to the European Union and the Britain. So how this is currently featuring. So they have signed a trade deal. They are going from exiting from exiting from European Union. So there are trade barriers, there are open market access, and there are issues with respect to the fisheries. These are the three contentious aspects that have to be dealt with respect to the exit of Britain from European Union. The other issues are related to the movement of the goods and movement of the people from one place to another. That is currently also being debated. So the initial thing that we have, the British lawmakers have basically approved whatever the deal that was signed with the European Union. I have already told you the final date for exiting of the Britain from European Union was 31st December 2020. So from 1st January 2021, Britons have ceased to be a member of any of the things that is related to European Union, and therefore they will be acting on their, you can say, a type of a sovereignty, and the deal that they already had with the European Union will end. So these are some of the things that are currently happening, and some negotiations are also going. So whatever the deal that has been made, that had to be passed by the parliament. I think before Boris Johnson, there was a person called Theresa May who tried to do the similar thing, but she was not able to get the vote from the House of the Representatives. So that's why she had to step down, and then the Boris Johnson came in and he negotiated all the deals and all the treaties. So I hope this is clear. Further moving on, the next one is with respect to the China set to launch third aircraft carrier in 2021. Why this news is important? First of all, the news is important because China has been increasing the Navy size or the Navy criteria. Okay, you can basically say what they want to achieve. They want to basically involve themselves into the larger aspects of the maritime security. They want to have a full maritime superpower, want to become a full maritime superpower, because it is often debated in the world that if you have a strong military, that is a navy, you can rule the world. For many decades, this has been so, because then you can control the routes, you can control the sea routes from where the major trade is going through. And if you are controlling the trade or the economics of the trade, definitely you will be able to win the war in some upper edges or in some issues where the supply chains are more interlinked with one another. Okay, so I hope this is clear, and that is in detail में मत जाइएगा, नाम एक बार पढ़ लीजिएगा. Shangdong and Yaoning are the two. The next one is the current account surplus moderates to 15.5 billion. Now tell me, what is the current account surplus and what is the current account deficit? So I hope you remember the current account surplus included the imports and exports. Both are included in the current account. We had studied two type of account. One is the capital account, one is the current account. In the case of the current account, we have studied imports and exports both coming in and going out. So imports and export. Then we have studied remittances. Then we have studied certain type of profits who are coming from outside. So remittances are basically the direct money that is transferred from outside to India. So this particular current account deficit is basically on the way of service receipts who have increased, because the whole world was using different kind of services with respect to the call center, with respect to the data management, and we are masters in that. So that's why we are able to offer more money, or the more money was flowing toward India in the service sector. The second one is the imports has also been on a fairly good manner, or the exports are not increasing. Understand this one thing. If you have understand current account surplus, the current account surplus is basically debated on two parts, imports and exports. So surplus is when we are exporting more and importing less. Okay? But that is not the case with India. We are still importing more, we are exporting less. Okay? So that should have been a deficit. But our deficit is compensated by the profits that we are making in the service sector. Okay? Or understand it like this. The current account surplus, or if basically we talk about current account, that includes exports minus imports. Now exports can be higher, imports can be lesser. Depending on whichever is higher, we will put the negative sign. So if there is a deficit, there will be negative. Okay, that means the exports are lesser as compared to the imports. We are importing more and exporting less. So if we are importing a product of 100 rupees and exporting only 80 rupees, then 20 rupees will be the deficit. In the case of surplus, we should be exporting 100 and importing 80. Okay, so that will be 20 rupees surplus. I am telling you that we are still having a shortages on the export part. We have more export. So the export and import are also there, but they are balanced by the increase in the services that we have seen now. Okay, so I hope this is clear. I will not go into the detail. I hope you are able to understand this. Okay, further moving on. Okay, I think that is it for today. Yeah, so we'll meet tomorrow then.